The first night my house shook. I honestly thought a truck had hit a pothole out on the main road. The second night, I sat straight up in bed and stared at the ceiling while the windows rattled. By the third night, I knew somebody next door was causing it, and they were doing it like they expected nobody to say a word. My name's Caleb Mercer, and before all this happened, life in Ridgemont, Pennsylvania was exactly the kind of quiet I liked. I'm not a big city guy. Never have been. I bought my house almost 9 years ago, a 2-story brick place on Hawthorne Lane with a fenced backyard, an old maple tree, and just enough room for my dog Duke to sprint himself tired every evening. It wasn't fancy, but it was mine. And after years of working overtime, fixing things myself, saving money where I could, that mattered. Behind my property line sat a light industrial strip. A few warehouses, loading bays, small fabrication shops. That part never bothered me. During the day you'd hear forklifts or a delivery truck backing up, but by evening everything quieted down. That was the routine. Until Holloway Precision bought the steel fabrication building behind my fence. At first nothing seemed unusual. Fresh logo, new trucks, a few extra workers. No big deal. Then one Tuesday night around 10 I was brushing my teeth when I felt the sink vibrate under my hands. Not a loud shake, just a hum, low and steady. The mirror buzzed against the wall. The faucet rattled lightly. It lasted maybe 20 seconds, then stopped. I remember standing there looking at myself like, okay, that was weird. Then I laughed. Figured it was traffic. Or a garbage truck. Went to bed. The next night it happened again. Only stronger. My bedroom windows gave a sharp little rattle. The lamp on the nightstand trembled. Even Duke lifted his head and stared toward the back wall. Then Thursday. Then Friday. Always around 10. Always coming from the same direction. And every night it lasted a little longer. By week 2 I was barely sleeping. That may sound dramatic, but once you're lying in bed waiting for your own floor to start vibrating again, your brain gets real alert. You stop relaxing. You listen to every sound, every creak, every shift. Duke somehow knew before I did. About 5 minutes before it started, he'd stop whatever he was doing and stare toward the backyard. Ears up, body stiff, like he was waiting for something. Dogs notice things. I should have trusted him sooner. One night, I was in the kitchen pouring coffee for the next morning when a mug slowly slid across the counter. Not far, maybe an inch, but enough. Enough to stop me cold. Enough to make my stomach tighten. Then 2 nights later a framed photo in the hallway tilted sideways. It was an old picture of my dad and me fishing when I was 17. I reached over and straightened it. And that's when I had this strange feeling. That this wasn't random. That something mechanical was causing it. The next evening, I walked over to Holloway Precision. A younger guy was locking up one of the side gates. Nice enough. Probably mid-20s. I asked if they'd started running equipment at night. He looked surprised. Said no. Told me everyone was usually gone by 6. I pointed toward my house. Then why does it feel like my floor turns into a washing machine every night? He kind of laughed awkwardly. Said maybe delivery trucks were unloading nearby. I thanked him and walked home. At exactly 10:02 that night, the vibration came back. Harder. My kitchen cabinet glass clicked together. The floor hummed under my feet. And Duke barked toward the back windows. That irritated me, because somebody had either lied to my face or had no idea what was happening inside that building. Neither one felt great. So I started documenting. Yellow legal pad. Every single night. Time it started. Time it stopped. Which room felt strongest. How long Duke reacted beforehand. Maybe that sounds obsessive. Maybe it was. But when your house starts moving and nobody seems interested in helping, details start feeling important. And the pattern showed up fast. Every night except Sunday. Usually around 10. Sometimes until midnight. Heavy vibration. Pause. Then another wave. Like large machinery cycling under load. A few days later my neighbor Evelyn Harper caught me shining a flashlight near the foundation. Evelyn's 72 and has lived on our street longer than anybody. Sharp as ever. Knows everything. She crossed her arms and asked, "You getting the midnight earthquake too?" I looked up. "You feel it?" She gave me this look. "Caleb, my china cabinet's been rattling like a marching band." That changed everything. Because now I knew for sure it wasn't just me. And honestly, that made me angrier. That afternoon I called the owner. Trent Holloway. He answered on the 3rd try. Smooth voice. Confident. Sounded distracted. Like he was talking while walking through an airport. I explained everything. The timing. The shaking. My windows. My neighbor dealing with it too. Long pause. Then he chuckled. Actually chuckled. And said, Mr. Mercer, industrial property tends to feel industrial. I asked directly if they were operating heavy machinery after hours. He said everything was fully within regulation. Then added, older homes can amplify movement. Maybe rearranging furniture would help. That one hit a nerve. Like my house was the problem. Like my walls needed a better attitude. I kept my voice calm. Said thanks. Hung up. Then that night happened. And that was the night everything changed. At 10:07, Duke jumped off the couch barking. The floor started vibrating so hard I felt it through my socks. My bedroom lamp shook. Kitchen glass rattled. Then in the den, 3 hardcover books slid off the shelf and slammed onto the hardwood. The sound echoed through the whole house. I stood there barefoot staring at those books. Heart pounding. And I stopped feeling irritated. I got scared. Real scared. Because houses aren't supposed to move like that. And once you start wondering whether somebody next door is damaging the place you spent years paying for, sleep disappears fast. Around midnight, I was sitting at my kitchen table with Duke curled beside my chair and my laptop open. Ridgemont City Ordinances. Industrial zoning. Residential nuisance laws. Then buried in a county PDF. I found it. Industrial equipment operating overnight could not create measurable vibration inside neighboring residential structures over city threshold, especially if structural integrity might be affected. I read that line twice, then leaned back, looked out through the kitchen window toward Holloway Precision. The warehouse looked calm, lights glowing faint behind the loading dock, quiet from the outside, like nothing unusual was happening. Meanwhile, my floor was still humming beneath my feet. And for the first time since this started, I smiled, because now I knew 2 things. I wasn't imagining any of it, and Trent Holloway had just lied to the wrong neighbor. The next morning, I called a vibration inspector named Martin Reyes. A contractor friend had mentioned him a couple years back when a downtown renovation ran into foundation trouble. I still had his number buried in my phone. When he answered, he sounded like a man halfway through his first cup of coffee. Then I explained what had been happening. He asked a few quick questions. You feel it through the floor? Yeah. Windows rattling? Every night. Anybody else nearby feel it? My neighbor across the street. Short pause. Then he said, okay, I can be there Thursday. Martin pulled up exactly at 8 Thursday morning in an old white pickup with equipment cases in the bed. Mid-50s maybe, gray beard, faded Phillies cap, calm voice. The kind of guy who had clearly seen expensive problems before. He walked through the basement first, checked the support beams, ran his hand along the concrete wall, then upstairs, bedroom, kitchen, living room. He barely spoke, just looked, measured, listened, then finally stopped near the back wall and glanced toward the warehouse. If I'm right, he said, they're running heavier than they're admitting. That sentence sat with me, because up until then part of me still wanted a simple explanation. Martin installed 3 vibration sensors. Basement, living room, bedroom, small devices wired to monitors. Then he looked at me. Don't warn them. I wasn't planning to. Good. Let them do what they normally do. That Thursday night felt longer than usual. I sat in the living room with Duke stretched beside the couch. At 10:03 sharp, the vibration started. Low first, then stronger. The monitor lights flickered. Then a deeper pulse rolled through the floorboards. The frame above the fireplace shook. Duke barked once. Martin stared at the readings. Didn't say a word. Friday night was worse. Saturday night worse than that. Almost 3 straight hours. By Sunday afternoon, Martin came back and downloaded the data. He stood at my kitchen counter scrolling through graphs. Then looked at me. Caleb, this isn't close. What do you mean? I mean they're well above threshold. Not barely. Not even arguable. He turned the monitor. The spikes were obvious. Every night. Same time. Same pattern. Rotational machinery, he said. Heavy. That cost me $750. Worth every penny. I emailed the report to Holloway Precision. Attached everything. Data. Timeline. Professional summary. And 1 sentence asking them to immediately stop overnight operations causing vibration inside residential homes. No answer. Monday nothing. Tuesday nothing. Wednesday morning I forwarded the whole thing to Ridgemont Code Enforcement. By Friday afternoon, City Inspector Lauren Mitchell showed up. Steel-toe boots. Clipboard. Straight to business. She walked my basement. Checked wall joints. Asked detailed questions. then crossed the street to talk to Evelyn. I could see Evelyn through the window waving both hands around while pointing toward her china cabinet. Lauren wrote a lot. That afternoon, she inspected Holloway Precision. I watched from my backyard. Trent came outside. Button-down shirt. Sunglasses. Lauren handed him paperwork. He crossed his arms. Talked for a minute. Then she left. That night, 10 o'clock, the vibration came right back. Exactly the same. I actually laughed. Because the nerve of it was unbelievable. Monday, Lauren called. They've been issued a formal warning. And they were ordered to cease overnight operations immediately. They didn't. I know. Then she paused. Document everything. That became my life. Night after night. Videos. Notes. Timestamps. One clip caught the pendant lights shaking. Another showed a glass vibrating across the counter. Evelyn started texting too. 10:11 again. Still shaking. My dishes are rattling. That somehow helped. Knowing I wasn't the only one hearing it. A week later, the city escalated. Daily fines. Real money. I thought finally, that'll do it. That night the vibration came back even harder. Like Trent was proving a point. The next afternoon I caught him in the parking lot. Black Silverado. Phone in one hand. He saw me coming and looked annoyed before I even opened my mouth. I said, "You got my report." "Yep." "You got the city warning." "Yep." "And you're still running." He smiled. That same controlled smile. Then asked, "You ever run a company, Caleb?" I didn't answer. He kept going. "Deadlines matter. Clients matter. We can't stop everything because an older house makes noise." That one got under my skin. Because he wasn't trying to fix anything. He was stalling. Betting I'd get tired. Betting fines cost less than slowing production. And for a day or two, I worried he might be right. Because every next step cost money. Then Thursday night, I found a hairline crack in the den near the trim. Tiny. Maybe old. Maybe not. But when the next vibration rolled through the floor under my feet, that was enough. The next morning, I called structural engineer Hannah Pierce. $1,200. She spent nearly 3 hours going through everything. Foundation walls. Exterior brick. Drywall joints. Support beams. Laser level. Photos. Minimal talking. Then she met me on the patio. Warehouse humming faint behind us. And she said, "You need this stopped." I felt my stomach drop. "How bad?" "Right now manageable," she said carefully. "But continued vibration like this absolutely can cause structural damage over time." That changed everything. Before that I was fighting for sleep. For peace. Now I was protecting my house. That afternoon I called attorney Russell Keene. Local guy. Sharp. Dry sense of humor. He read Martin's report. Then Hannah's. Then looked up. Well, Trent Holloway made himself a very expensive problem. Russell drafted one letter. Simple. Professional. Cease overnight operations immediately, or we file for injunctive relief. We sent it certified. That evening Trent left a voicemail. "Caleb, lawyers?" Really? Like I was being dramatic. Like this was all theater. I deleted it. Russell filed Monday morning. Inspection reports. Engineering findings. Videos. City enforcement. Timeline. Everything. Late Monday afternoon he called. The judge reviewed it. My chest tightened. And we've got a hearing tomorrow. That night the vibration came one more time. Longer. Heavier. Like Trent was squeezing every last hour he could out of those machines. I stood in the dark kitchen, watching the cabinet glass tremble. Warehouse lights glowing through the trees. And I remember thinking, go ahead. Run every machine you've got. Because by tomorrow morning, one of us was about to have a very different week. The hearing was Tuesday morning, and I got there early because there was absolutely no chance I was sitting at home pretending I wasn't nervous. Ridgemont County Courthouse wasn't impressive. Old brick. Scuffed floors. Fluorescent lights humming overhead. Coffee smell drifting through the hallway. But that building felt heavier that morning than anywhere I'd been in a long time. Russell met me outside the courtroom carrying a folder thick enough to stop a door. He looked completely relaxed, which helped more than he probably realized. A couple minutes later, Trent Holloway walked in. Charcoal suit. Polished shoes. Phone in hand. Same calm expression he'd worn every single time we talked. Like this was just another meeting, and he still expected things to go his way. He glanced at me, gave that little chin nod. Then we all went inside. Judge Eleanor Briggs wasted zero time. Russell presented everything. Martin's vibration reports. My notes. Videos. City enforcement. Then Hannah's engineering findings. Even Evelyn Harper had signed a witness statement describing her china cabinet rattling every night. Trent's attorney argued business necessity. Deadlines. Industrial zoning. Tried to frame it like neighbors were overreacting. Then Russell played the video. My kitchen lights swaying. Glass rattling. Timestamp visible. Martin's sensor data lined up beside it. Perfect match. Then Hannah explained what repeated structural vibration can do over time. Framing stress. Separation. Foundation wear. No drama. Just facts. Judge Briggs looked at Trent. Were you instructed by city enforcement to stop overnight machinery? Yes. And did you continue operating? Pause. He shifted. We believe the complaint was overstated. The judge adjusted her glasses. That wasn't my question. Silence. Then she granted the temporary injunction. Effective immediately. No overnight heavy machinery. No exceptions. Just like that. Done. We stepped outside, and Russell gave me the smallest smile. That, he said, is what ignoring evidence gets you. By noon, Holloway Precision looked like somebody kicked over an anthill. Employees pacing. Forklifts moving. Phones ringing. A truck tried to leave the loading dock, then backed up and parked again. Everybody scrambling. Then 10 o'clock came that night. And for the first time in over a month, nothing. No hum. No rattling. No vibration under the floorboards. Duke lifted his head from the rug, waited for a second, then laid it back down. And I sat in the kitchen listening to complete silence. The kind of silence you don't realize you missed until it comes back. I hadn't understood how tired I'd become until that moment. 3 days later my phone rang. Unknown number. Trent. His voice sounded completely different. Still controlled. But lower. Careful. Caleb. I think we should sit down. Friday afternoon, we met inside the warehouse. First time I'd ever stepped in there. Massive space. Steel beams. Fabrication stations. Heavy equipment. And near the back were exactly what Martin suspected: 2 oversized rotary machines bolted into reinforced concrete. Huge. Industrial. No wonder my house had been shaking every night. Trent looked tired. More tired than I'd ever seen him. He started apologizing. A real apology this time. Said he underestimated how much vibration was carrying. Said he thought complaints were exaggerated. Said he was trying to keep overnight contracts moving while they figured things out. I let him finish. Then asked quietly, when exactly were you planning to tell me you were running those every night? He didn't answer. Looked down. That told me enough. Then the offer started. Repair reimbursement. Soundproofing. Adjusted operating hours. Temporary compensation. Russell sat beside me flipping pages and saying almost nothing, which was intentional. Eventually Trent's engineering consultant slid a final agreement across the table. $80,000 compensation. Independent engineering team to redesign the machine mounts with vibration isolation. Mandatory certification before overnight operation could ever resume. Strict operating hours filed directly with the city. 5 years of monitoring access. Immediate repair coverage if any future damage appeared. I read every page. Slow. Took my time. Trent sat across from me waiting, probably wondering how hard I planned to push. And I'll be honest, part of me considered pushing harder. Because when somebody ignores you for weeks, laughs at you, tells you to rearrange furniture while your house shakes every night, something in you hardens. You replay every conversation, every sleepless night, every time they acted like you were exaggerating. But then I thought about Duke finally sleeping through the night. Evelyn not stuffing towels around her dishes. My own house feeling calm again. And more than anything, I wanted peace back. My normal life back. So I signed. Trent signed. Russell shook hands. That was it. Over the next month, contractors rebuilt the foundations under those machines and installed full isolation systems. Independent engineers certified everything. The warehouse still runs. They still do business. But nights stay quiet now. No vibrations. No surprises. And my house feels like mine again. Sometimes around 10, I still wake up automatically. Habit. I'll listen for a second. Hear Duke breathing. Branches tapping the windows. Nothing else. And I smile. Because Trent Holloway thought I'd eventually give up. Thought city fines were manageable. Thought one homeowner wouldn't matter. Instead, he ignored every warning, kept pushing, and ended up shutting down his own overnight operation faster than anybody expected. And people still disagree about how I handled it. A couple neighbors later said maybe I should have worked with him sooner. Been flexible. Saved him trouble. Maybe. But I gave him plenty of chances. conversations, reports, warnings, weeks of chances. Every time he made the same choice. So I'm curious what you think. If a business next door started crossing into your home and refused to stop, how far would you go? Would you have settled? Or taken it all the way through court? Drop your opinion in the comments, hit like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.